If you're alive in the United States today, chances are that you played a video game on your phone, or on your computer, or maybe on a console. You might have also played a game from beginning to end and enjoyed the experience as a casual participant. Most play the game more or less as intended, the way that the developer of the game hoped you would play it. Maybe you spent a bit more time than most just chatting up people in Riverwood, or mining for resources, or maybe just doing something else entirely, but the developers have given you that freedom intentionally. They don't expect everyone to play the game exactly the same, and they plan for differences. But there is one group of people that developers rarely plan for: speedrunners. The goal of being a speedrunner is simple: win the game as fast as you can with only a few rules. What this means is that a lot of things which would make a developer cringe are fair game. Bugs, glitches, unusual strategies, all are very common in speedrunning. Speedrunning is known for showcasing some of the most talented gamers in the world, with extremely impressive reflexes and knowledge of their games. Backing the known runners is a large community, made of less skilled runners, glitch hunters, and organizers, all of whom are responsible in part for the run. The final product, a collection of all the known strategies, used as optimally as possible, is called a route, a very fast way to beat the game. The fastest known routes are highly scrutinized by runners and strategy makers, and their times are slowly shaved down as new strategies are discovered, and the fastest runners become more skilled at executing them. As such, optimizing the speedrun of a game is undoubtedly a cooperative group effort. That isn't to say that there is no competition in such a community. The top few runners can be fiercely competitive, hoping to one day hold or retake the world record. Even novice runners will find themselves competing against their own times, hoping to improve their technique. I hope to analyze speedrunning today from a social scientific perspective, unwrapping speedrunning as a notable game. I bring this information to you as a novice speedrunner myself. I started speedrunning Dark Souls earlier this year, simply because it was a game which I greatly enjoyed, and seemed to have an accessible route, without too many tricks which I thought I would be incapable of. At first, every major trick took great effort to learn. For example, a trick called Move Swap, which involves quick presses of 8 buttons with very precise timing, took me almost 40 minutes to do successfully the first time, but today I can do it on my first try most of the time. Speedrunning is all about improvement and practice, and much like learning a musical instrument, there isn't much of a substitute for just learning and trying things over and over again. I also got an inside look at the Dark Souls speedrunning community as I progressed. Early in my learning experience, I asked a question in the forums about a trick which I had a lot of difficulty with. To my surprise, the world record holder answered my question within minutes with an extremely helpful answer. On one occasion, I even had the privilege to find a trick myself.
Alright, here's my attempt at this elevator trickery. So the idea is basically, if you can get off the elevator in time before it stops moving, then you can reset it back to its original lower state. I mean, that looked pretty good to me. It seemed like the elevator was still in motion. Ah, nice. Okay, cool. So the good news there is that from here, once you finish O&S, you just bone back the Dark Moon and you no longer have to go pull the switch to pull the elevator back down. Very cool. Credits go to Izzy for that from Discord.
I thought the trick might work, and I managed to pull it off once myself, so I posted it on the forums. Within a few hours, the community confirmed that it worked, and determined that it saved about 10 seconds. This might not sound like a lot, but given the incredible consistency of some of the runners, could easily be the difference between world record and not. And, as it turned out, that same month, the record was broken, dropped from 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 46 seconds to 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 39 seconds, a difference of just 7 seconds, and it included my trick. This is a record that would not have otherwise existed if not for the trick I, a complete noob, found on my own. The way this information proliferates is really quite interesting. Everyone is responsible for finding tricks, and this includes novice runners, expert runners, strategy finders, glitch hunters. Everyone is responsible for finding the strategies. And not everybody even runs the game. Some people, who are the strategy finders and such, just only play the game to find the strategies, or maybe even just explore the code itself without playing the game. And then, once these strategies are found, they're usually posted on a forum, or maybe put in a YouTube video. And they're really the best runners. They tend to stream on Twitch or Mixer or whatever they want to stream on. And they usually have their fingers on a pulse of the forums and the videos and everything, and the community, because they want to be the first to find these strategies so that they can take those strategies and get a world record with them before anybody else does. But what this also means is that when they stream their runs, everyone else gets to learn these strategies, even if they didn't quite have such a finger on the pulse as the best speedrunners did. And that's kind of how information cycles in this community. Everyone finds strategies, the speedrunners use the strategies, and everyone learns the strategies from the speedrunners. So even the people at the lowest level have a lot of influence on the final result, the route. There's also another layer of the community, and that is the developers themselves. For the most part, the job of the developer is making a fun experience with as few bugs or glitches as possible. In some ways, this actually runs counter to the ideals of speedrunning. Sure, in most cases a fun game will lead to a fun speedrun, but bugs and glitches are one of the main reasons speedrunning has so much appeal. It's cool to see the games you know and love be broken at the seams by people who knew the game better than you could ever hope to. There's nothing more impressive than seeing a trick which literally violates the rules of the game, while using nothing but the code the developers gave you. It's a challenge to find the best loopholes. Of course, developers still will feel the need to fix bugs as they're found, but I would argue that these actions should be reserved depending on the nature of the specific bug. If a bug would frequently cause problems, even in a casual playthrough, then it should be patched. If a bug would never be encountered in a casual playthrough, such as one that requires a very specific setup which only speedrunners would ever figure out or even know about, what's the point of patching it? The only effect of doing so is a less interesting speedrun. In my opinion, patching these bugs is unnecessary, as they add character to the game without really making it less fun for anyone. So, what distinguishes speedrunning as a notable game? First of all, I think the rules. Like many games, the rules are arbitrary, but one thing notable about the rules for speedrunning is that they are very minimal. For the most part, the rules are, finish the game from beginning to end in as little time as possible. In many cases, the only clarifications needed are just what exactly constitutes the beginning and end of a game. In other cases, only some other minor rules are needed to remind people to use only an unhacked version of the game, obviously, or specific bans on tricks which are deemed too broken. The rules are usually posted on an official website like speedrun.com or to their game-specific website like speedsouls.com. The beauty of this arrangement is that almost any game can be speedrun, with maybe just a few tweaks to the rules. Also notable is that unless a runner is racing, they cannot win speedrunning. Just because you beat the game from start to finish does not mean that you won. All it means is that you got a specific time, which may or may not be better than your previous times or those of others. Success in speedrunning is entirely arbitrary. Speedrunning can also be viewed as an optimization game, where a community and/or individual runners try to minimize their expected value, with this value being the time it takes for them to finish the game. Unlike many optimization problems, however, since the best time achieved gets the most attention, there is a good reason to go for the fastest possible time, rather than the fastest average time. In a sense, there are two different optimization problems. Let's imagine that there's a speedrunning trick which saves 15 seconds, but is very difficult, say 1 in 3 chance of success. And failing the trick costs you an entire minute, a very common situation in speedrunning. If you do the math, the expected value of going for the trick is actually that you lose almost 40 seconds. But when only the best times matter, it's actually worth going for that trick. You want to have a shot at getting a very good time, because it will be remembered, even if it involves taking some serious risks. Due to human limitations, this does have a limit, however. Tricks, for instance, that save 5 seconds, but have only a 2% chance of success, are really worth going for, because the number of runs that they ruin outweighs the time that they save. In those situations, it's actually preferable just to not waste your time in the interest of being able to grind more runs and hopefully get the record that way. If you're a more casual runner, not aiming to beat your personal best, or you're doing a race, the game becomes much more about expected value. Rescue tricks aren't worth going for unless they save a lot of time, or don't cost much time to fail. For example, there's a trick in Dark Souls called Duke Skip, which saves as much as 7 or 8 minutes. I'm very bad at the trick. It sometimes takes me about 10 or more tries, but each try only takes about 20 seconds or so I can actually fail the trick 20 to 25 times without losing time on average. So it's always worth going for. The trick is deemed absolutely necessary, regardless of whether it's a casual attempt or a personal best attempt. There's so much about speedrunning which I could discuss, such as how it is extremely male-dominated but also seems to act as a haven for trans women. Or I could discuss Games Done Quick, an extremely influential biannual fundraising event, which has caused speedrunning to explode in popularity, and also managed to raise millions of dollars every year. If you're still curious about speedrunning, I recommend just typing the name of your favorite game into the YouTube search bar, followed by a GDQ. You're bound to see something surprising and impressive. If you want to see the rest of the Dark Souls speedrunning which I used in this video, you can feel free to follow the link in the description. If nothing else, I hope that you've learned a little bit about speedrunning today. Thank you.